Hello everyone, wishing you a wonderful day. Today we're diving into a story where nothing seems wrong, yet everything is slowly falling apart. What if the real danger isn't conflict, but the silence that quietly takes everything away? Stay with me to uncover what happens next. And if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next videos. The change didn't happen loudly. There were no arguments, no confrontations, no moment where everything suddenly became clear. Instead, it came quietly. So quietly that at first, no one was sure if it was real. The CEO's routine became simple, almost ordinary. Every morning, he left early, not rushing, not stressed the way he used to be, just steady. He would pause by the bed before leaving. Look at the baby. Still small, still fragile, but stronger now, always stronger. Then his eyes would shift to Tieu Lac. Sometimes she was awake, sometimes she was still pretending to sleep. But he always knew, he always noticed, and without saying much, he would gently pull the blanket over her shoulder, a small gesture, quiet but consistent. Then he would leave, and the day would begin. Work was no longer about ambition, not entirely. It wasn't about proving himself anymore, not about power, not about control. It was different. Every meeting, every decision, every long hour had one purpose: to come back, to them. At night, no matter how late, he returned, not as someone exhausted from the world, but as someone who had something to return to. And that changed everything. Tieu Lac noticed it. Of course she did, not through words, but through patterns, through presence, through the way he didn't just exist in the same space anymore, he stayed. Even when he was tired, even when he didn't speak, he stayed. The baby had grown a little stronger. Her cries were clearer now, more demanding, more alive, and every time she reached out, it was always both of them. Not one, not separate, but together. One evening, something different happened. Not big, not dramatic, but noticeable. Tieu Lac stood in the kitchen, alone, for the first time since she arrived. The space felt unfamiliar, too clean, too organized, too controlled. But she stayed. Because this time, she wanted to do something, not for survival, not out of necessity, but because she wanted to. She moved slowly, carefully. Not confident, but determined. Simple ingredients, nothing complicated, nothing impressive. Just something warm, something real, something that felt like home. The first dish wasn't perfect, the flavors slightly off, the presentation uneven. But it didn't matter, because it wasn't meant to be perfect. It was meant to be hers. When the CEO walked in that night, he paused, not because something was wrong, but because something felt different. The house smelled different, softer, warmer, alive. He stepped further in and saw her, standing there, a little unsure, but waiting. "I made dinner." Her voice was quiet, almost hesitant, as if she wasn't sure how it would be received. He looked at the table, then at her, then back at the table again. And for a moment, he didn't say anything, because he understood what this meant, what this took. "You didn't have to," he said softly. She nodded slightly. "I wanted to." A pause. For us. They sat down, together, the baby resting in a small cradle beside them. The room was quiet, no music, no distractions, just the sound of small movements, breathing, presence. The first bite wasn't perfect. He could tell. Of course he could, but he didn't react, didn't comment. He just continued eating, slowly, carefully, because sometimes it's not about taste, it's about meaning. Tieu Lac watched him, trying to read his reaction, trying to understand if she had done something wrong. But he didn't give her anything obvious. And somehow, That made her more nervous. "It's not very good," she said quietly, almost apologizing. He looked up, finally, met her eyes. "It's enough." A pause, then, "It's more than enough." Something in her expression shifted. Not relief, not exactly, but something close, because she understood what he meant. Not just about the food, but about everything. They didn't talk much, not like before. Not like when everything was uncertain and needed to be filled with words. Now, the silence was different. It wasn't empty. It was shared. From the hallway, someone watched. His mother. She didn't step in, didn't interrupt, didn't announce her presence. She just stood there, observing the table, the three of them, the way they moved around each other, the way nothing was forced, nothing was performed, and something in her expression changed. Slightly, subtly, but enough. The next day, things felt easier. Not dramatically, not obviously, but noticeably. The staff spoke to Tieu Lac differently, more respectfully, less distant. His mother didn't interfere, didn't comment, didn't criticize, and that was new. Tieu Lac noticed it. Of course she did, but instead of feeling relieved, she felt something else, uncertainty, because change like this didn't come without reason. Not in this house, not with her. That evening, his mother finally spoke, not directly, not confronting, but present. "You've adjusted quickly." Her voice was calm, neutral, directed at Tieu Lac. Tieu Lac paused, then nodded slightly. "I'm trying." A small silence followed. Then, "That's good." Simple words, but unexpected. Because they weren't cold. They weren't sharp. They weren't anything she had expected. The CEO noticed it too, and for a brief moment, something inside him relaxed. Just a little. Because maybe, just maybe, things were changing. But not everything that looks like peace is safe. Later that night, as the house grew quiet again, his mother sat alone. In the same place, the same stillness, the same control. Her fingers rested lightly on the table, still, patient, and her eyes, distant, not watching what had happened, but what would come next. "Let's see," she murmured softly. "How long this lasts." Back in their room, Tieu Lac held the baby close, her fingers gently tracing the child's small hand. The CEO sat beside her, not speaking, just there, present. Something had changed, yes, but neither of them said it out loud, because both of them felt it. That quiet shift, that strange calm, that subtle difference in everything. And the question remained, was this acceptance, or was this something else entirely? Because in a house where nothing happens by accident, even kindness can be a plan. At first it felt real, the change, the softness, the silence that no longer cut like before. For a few days, nothing happened. No tension, no hidden remarks, no subtle pressure. Just calm. And that was what made it dangerous. Tieu Lac began to move more freely in the house, not fully comfortable, not completely at ease, but no longer as cautious as before. She spent more time in the kitchen, more time near the baby's cradle in the main room. Sometimes even sitting in spaces she used to avoid. And each time, no one stopped her, no one corrected her. No one reminded her of where she belonged. That alone felt like a change. The CEO noticed it too. Of course he did. The way the house seemed to breathe differently. The way his mother didn't intervene, didn't question, didn't push. And for a moment, he allowed himself to believe. Maybe things were finally settling. But Tieu Lac didn't feel that way. Not completely, because she had learned something. Not through words, but through experience. That silence, in this house, was never empty. The first sign came quietly, so quietly that anyone else might have ignored it. It happened in the afternoon. When the baby was sleeping, Tieu Lac had just stepped out for a moment, only a moment, to get something from the kitchen. When she came back, the baby was no longer alone. His mother was there, standing beside the cradle, looking down, still, calm, unmoving. Tieu Lac froze at the doorway, not because of fear, but because of something else, something she couldn't explain. The older woman didn't turn immediately. She continued looking at the child, as if studying something. Then, without looking up, she sleeps lightly. Her voice was quiet, measured. Tieu Lac stepped closer. Yes, a small pause. She's still adjusting. Silence again. Then, she looked stronger. That word, stronger. Tieu Lac nodded. She is. Another pause, longer this time. And then, his mother finally turned. Her gaze met Tieu Lac's, direct, but not cold, not like before. If she continues like this, she said slowly, she'll need a different routine. Tieu Lac frowned slightly. What do you mean? The older woman's expression remained calm, more structured care. A pause, more consistency. Tieu Lac's fingers tightened slightly. I can take care of her. The answer came quickly, instinctively, because something about that suggestion didn't sit right. But his mother didn't argue, didn't correct her. She simply nodded. Of course. And then she walked away, just like that, leaving nothing behind except a thought. That evening, Tieu Lac couldn't shake it. The way she had stood there, the way she had looked at the baby, the way she had spoken, not like before, not with rejection, but with something else, something more subtle, more careful, more deliberate. When the CEO returned that night, Tieu Lac didn't speak immediately. She waited, watched him settle, watched him relax, watched the small moment where he allowed himself to breathe again. Then, she was in the room today. Her voice was soft, but direct. He looked up. My mother? Tieu Lac nodded. She was looking at the baby. A pause. She said she needs a different routine. Silence, not long, but enough, because he understood, not fully, but enough. She didn't mean anything by it. The answer came naturally, almost too naturally, as if he needed to believe it. But Tieu Lac didn't respond, not right away, because something inside her wasn't convinced. The next day, it happened again, not the same way, not the same words, but the same feeling, the same presence, the same quiet shift. A nurse arrived, new, unfamiliar, polite, professional. I've been assigned to assist with the baby. Tieu Lac blinked. Assigned? The nurse smiled gently. Yes, a pause. Madam requested additional support. There it was, again. Not force, not command, but arrangement. Already done, already decided. Tieu Lac didn't refuse. Not directly, because this wasn't a situation where refusal worked. But she didn't accept either. Not completely, because something in her had already started to resist. That night, the distance returned. Not visible, not obvious, but present. The CEO sat beside her, as always, tired, present, trying. But now, there was something between them, not conflict, but difference, perspective, understanding. She's just trying to help, he said quietly, not defending, but explaining. Tieu Lac looked down at the baby, then back at him. Or she's trying to replace me. The words came softly, but they didn't disappear. They stayed, in the space between them. He didn't answer immediately, because part of him knew, but another part didn't want to. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful anymore. It wasn't shared. It was divided. From the hallway, she watched again, his mother, calm, still, patient, because this was how it worked. Not through force, not through confrontation, but through space, through doubt, through time. The next morning, everything continued. As if nothing had changed, as if nothing had shifted, as if everything was still fine. But inside, something had already begun. Something quiet, something slow, something almost impossible to stop once it started. Tieu Lac held the baby closer that day. More than usual, her movements more protective, more aware. Because she felt it now, the shift, the pull, the quiet pressure that didn't need to be spoken. The CEO left for work again. As always, turning back once, looking at them, wanting to believe everything was still okay. But as the door closed, the house returned to silence. Perfect, controlled, still, and somewhere within that silence, the plan continued. Not loud, not cruel, but precise. Because sometimes, the most dangerous battles are the ones that feel like nothing is happening at all. The baby stirred softly, alive, present, still the center of everything. But now, no longer untouched, and the question lingered, not if something was wrong, but when they would finally see it clearly. And when they did, would it already be too late? After moving into the CEO's family home, Tieu Lac initially feels a strange sense of calm as his mother appears to accept her presence. However, this peace soon reveals a deeper tension. Instead of direct confrontation, the mother begins subtly interfering, bringing in a nurse to care for the baby and quietly shifting control away from Tieu Lac. Meanwhile, the CEO becomes increasingly busy with work, unintentionally creating emotional distance between them. Tieu Lac starts to feel uncertain and out of place, sensing that something is changing but unable to clearly confront it. The silence in the house grows heavier, filled with unspoken pressure and quiet manipulation. As the mother watches everything unfold, her plan moves forward without force. Now, the real danger lies not in conflict, but in the slow, unnoticed drift that could break their family apart before they even realize it.